Welcome. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. I didn't start with like one of those little weird beginning intro screens. I don't know, I just feel like it. I was ready to go. Ready to go. So I should do it, right? Let's see, what we got going on today? Well, I can't decide. Although standing here, since it's kind of already set up, I'm leaning towards resin. It's just what I'm kind of obsessively working towards. But what I'll probably do, I'm thinking, unless you guys indicate otherwise, is start with the resin I've got going on here, as you can see. And then, oh my, this one got stuck to my, that's funny. Favorite pencil, just for review, Blackwing. I'm going to keep thinking about it though, because I can just pick this up, move it away, and then grab the painting because it's right there. You know, there's, I don't know what I'm going to do. Instead, I'm just going to think, and I'm going to update y'all a little bit. So last Thursday, I had the most interesting science exploration done in the yard of a school that I work with my after-school science and art activities. It was kind of amazing. So we were tie-dyeing pillowcases, essentially. We were tie-dyeing pillowcases, and I use that to teach about galaxies. It's a thing. And then one of the students said, hey, there's this thing, and I'm pretty sure you like know what it is. And she was like, she pointed to these dots that are appearing on the table, the picnic table that we were working on. It was a nice day, so we went outside. She was like, what is this? I was like, well, I thought it was kind of coming out of the paint. I looked at it, but it had increased significantly from the week before when we'd worked at the same picnic table. And it was just kind of, it didn't feel right. It wasn't coming out right. It looked like it had landed. I don't know how to describe it other than the shape of it. But it looked like it had like landed instead of coming up and out of the wood. So we began a search around the area to figure out what the radius was for these dots. Like, where is it coming from, right? If these dots are a thing, these little brown dots, something over there is rattling and it is driving me nuts as I lean. So I'm going to move something. I can't stand a rattle like that. I don't entirely know what it is, but I'm shifting everything. There we are. It's still rattling. Do you hear it? I don't know what it is. What do you think it is? I think it might just be the structure, the actual structure of my flat file, so that's cool. I think I fixed it though. The cold temperature changes, it's kind of cool in here today, hence the sweater. And so we started looking at these dots and we established they're definitely on the table. They're definitely on the gravel, the rocks that were around. Here's an example. We collected samples. Can I should get it to show up on the camera? Right now it just looks like a rock. Here we go. This rock has less texture. Can you see the dots? There's a big one right there. Bring it real close. I should get the microscope out. It's a big dot, okay? And there are several on it. And these dots, and the whole time I was sitting here looking at these things thinking, it really, really looks like the spores of a bird's nest fungus, but we're in a gravel pit, and bird's nest fungus is definitely something that appears in mulch. I mean, that's not the only place it can appear, but that's everywhere I've seen it, mulch. So we began looking around, and I was like, okay, it kind of looks like this fungus, there are the spores of this fungus that I'm familiar with, but like, it doesn't quite feel right to me. Let's keep looking. So we documented that the dots also appeared on the leaves, on the bushes nearby. I know, right? And on another bush, a fire bush. There are little dots. Can you see it? And on the tree, though less, and only on the lower branches. we checked the mailbox nearby, and the mailbox, like, we checked that these little dots were appearing. Here we are. These little dots were appearing on the mailbox, on the underside of the mailbox, and on the top side of the mailbox. Now this one, this one's ready to pop off. This little dried dot. These dots, and so like, yeah, we like really spent a lot of time investigating this and determining where the radius was, and it really did seem to be gathering around the picnic table. Weird. And it was on the brick wall that was nearby. We could find them on the brick wall, but only up to a certain height, like just above my head. So we're going through, and then I was like, okay guys, I really think this has to be bird's nest fungus, even though I'm not seeing any around. We were in a wood, or in a rock pit, but if you went a few feet away, it did turn into mulch. So we started looking there, and almost immediately it was bird's nest fungus everywhere. It's just that they had already dried, so they didn't look like I was used to seeing. They were very crumpled. I tried to get some video, slow-mo video of it. I don't know that I did. I'll put it on my Instagram if I got something good. But yeah, so, you know, we used science, determined what the radius was, where the most likely location of the thing that was putting this stuff out was. We tried to document how the bird's nest fungus, when you take a drop of water and drop it into this little cup-shaped fungus that has these like little egg-looking things on the inside, real tiny, that the water and the force being released down then causes the spores to spray out. I don't know that we actually documented it or saw it, but we did try very hard. So that was a really delightful Thursday. Friday, I substituted for another teacher, teaching a really delightful class on bath fizzes, you know, a citric acid, baking soda reaction that we compress into a ball so that they can, with minimal water and a little oil, so that they can open it up and then put it in their bath or shower, and it fizzes and does fun things. So that was a great event, and grandparents came to pick up their kid, and the kid was like, no, I'm hanging out here because I really want to do this. Why don't you guys join us? And so grandparents did. They stayed around and completed the activity. They're like, we went to this school growing up. So this is grandparents, right? They're like, we went to this school growing up. I remember so many dances in this cafeteria. Right? Just like, what an experience, and to be able to talk about, and they're like, and this is like your after school stuff. This is very different than what we grew up with after school activities being. It was fun. It was cute. Along with some older teens that are usually there to supervise the kids, but they didn't have anything to do, so they joined us in the activity, and Yasmin had a fantastic time with them. She's so good with people. So that went well. And then, so I've been working non-stop, okay? So I have a 14-day streak that I'm still in, where I'm working every day. So I don't have weekends. So, or even a single day off. So then on Saturday, Yasmin had organized this fantastic party for Moms Rising, which is a nonprofit that collects stories from women, and particularly women in marginalized communities, to share with lawmakers, because they are typically not marginalized women. and sharing their stories and how their policies and things that they're voting into affect voting into law, then affect their constituents that they maybe don't have resources or connections to actually listen to and understand. So we did an event with them, and it was delightful, just making flowers out of trash. There weren't as many kids there as I'd anticipated. I got the few young women who had joined us, but I couldn't get many of the young boys to join us to make flowers. So that's a disadvantage that I need to reconsider for a community-centered event. Maybe don't do a flowered focused event, because boys are like, oh, it's not cool. I'm like, but it is, and you can give this to your mama, your girlfriend, your significant other, whoever. Like, it's cute, you know. And So that didn't quite work the way I wanted to, but it's still, I call it a big success because Yasmin's speaking and other people speaking and the organization of the event was a success. I just had some stuff that I really needed to work out again about doing like free events. I haven't done many of those in the community. So that was fun. And then on Sunday, we did a free draw with the church I'm working with. And that went well. And then it was Monday and I was teaching after school programs again. So I'm still in the stint where I don't have a day off. My days are fortunately pretty flexible, but I am kind of on the tired side, worn out side. Fortunately, you know, my lungs are working well again after all the allergies that happen every fall. I'm breathing well again, so I'm able to work out, and that keeps me pretty energized. My garden is still producing. Strangely enough, this does not normally happen in New Hampshire into late October. Like, yeah, my tomatoes are usually done by late September. Having not done cucumbers before, I don't know what to expect for those. My green beans are just still going strong. I'm getting, I don't know, I should weigh it, but it's a big bowl like this big and I'm filling it with green beans every weekend and then I'm blanching them and freezing them or making them into dinner. And, it's a lot of green beans. So that's fantastic. Of course, because it has been so warm, I'm still fertilizing with a fish emulsion fertilizer every 2 weeks. So they keep producing. I have some late planted birdhouse gourds that I put in what I call my bee garden. It's really the driveway, but I let it overgrow. It's gravel, so it doesn't matter. So I let it overgrow and I put in sunflowers and then I planted some extra gourds, birdhouse gourds around them. And they're producing. Like they've got newish gourds on them and are growing. So I fertilized that this weekend. So the garden is still going strong. The wood floors are in the apartment up here. They look beautiful. Dave is doing finishing details like some edging on some stairs, maybe some plugs for the screws for the pieces that go in the corner. Yeah. And, gosh, we'd never sit still. Yeah, there's just so much going on. It's all super hard. It's all super, super, super hard. But, what else? Oh, and this weekend, if you are a local viewer in New Hampshire, I'm going to encourage you to check out Brookside Congregational Church on Elm Street here in Manchester. We are doing free art lessons during church. You know, like it's kind of like Sunday school, but more about science and art. Because I am connecting the themes with the sermon that the pastor, that the reverend is preaching. But it's more about concepts than drawing back to a very specific Bible verse, if that makes sense. It's about concepts. And this week, I believe it's this week, we're going to be making geodes. And I've always wanted to do this, so I'm finally seeing this presentation of it. I think I'm going to get a real geode, crack it on screen, or, you know, crack it in the service. You can also watch it remotely on Facebook, but I'm going to crack it live for everyone to see. And I think that's going to be delightful because we usually just make like a fake geode and that's great. But I really want to do this because I think this will be fun. It's a little expensive for me to do all the time because like each geode is usually like, well, if you go to the gem store that's near here, you know, they're like $3 to $7 a pop and I can't afford that. Like that's my entire budget for a class per student. But I called the gem store out on Hooksett Way to find out if they had geodes and if I could purchase them and what their prices were. And they're like, yeah, no, we have those things. Just come in. I'm like, okay, well, your website says to call to make sure you're still open because sometimes you're not. So I did that. It seemed like they just wanted to get me off the phone. And I was thinking of purchasing a larger geode, like that had already been cut and polished and stuff so that I could use it to wow students in the classroom and stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll go there. You know, I'll be there tomorrow. Excellent. So I go. And I walk in and the woman's standing there at the counter and she's not wearing a mask and I've got my double masking on, but I just hang out, you know, I totally get, she's in there probably all day, all alone, you know, not wearing a mask the whole time is totally fine. Just put it on when people come in. And so I hung out there and she just kept doing whatever she was doing in a cupboard far from the desk. And she's like, oh, you can come in. I'm like, oh, I was just waiting for you to put on your mask. And she's like, we don't require masks. I'm like, okay, well, cool. bye. One, you don't require masks, so that means you're at greater risk to me. Awesome. And you are actively promoting ideas and things that can actively kill me, so I'm not giving you my money. I'll probably be leaving them a Google review that just lets everyone know that they don't wear masks, so that, you know, people don't have to subject themselves to the trauma of going in and seeing someone who actively doesn't care if you live or die. So that's fun. But yeah, so if anyone knows of like a sustainable source to get geodes, like I don't want to encourage pilfering of natural resources of underserved communities and countries and that kind of thing. So I'm getting some on Amazon this time so that I can do that. But like I could use some like geodes that are cool, that don't hurt people in their mind and stuff. So let me know. Drop me a comment in the chat. What else is going on in my life? I don't know, man. That's a lot. Isn't that a lot already? Those are the things I'm doing. I am pretty continually making more and more of these little itty bitty gemstones, testing ideas and practices with resin. My latest group of things that I did, I put a clear bit in first, which resulted in something interesting. It didn't quite do away with all the bubbles, which I'm a little disappointed with. But I like the depth that's created by getting the, oh, my fingers, you can see how dirty they are, by putting a coat of clear in first and then putting in all the colors. I like that look. I don't know if you guys can see that really well. I do like that look. I think it gives it more depth. But unfortunately, as you can see, as I set one up last night to cure, if you look in here, they're like not coating the whole thing. They're kind of making like bubbles inside the gems instead, because the silicone also, it's so good at being an anti-stick, right? It's also kind of repelling the resin. So I'm working through that, to say the least. I think the next step on the resin I have, well, here's one. So the black resin that you see spread out here was poured last night. So it's not quite cured. It's probably good enough to work with for a second coat, to do the next layer, but you can't pull everything out. I did pull this button out, which black was the final layer that I put on it on the back. It's a little sticky still, but I'm trying to, figure out creating depth basically in these things. So can you see that? So I poured the red and the gold, and then I poured a clear and then the black. So there's like, the button has depth to it. Maybe you'll see it better on the other one. Here we go. Maybe I should just like do this, because I'm not as important. Wait, what did it do? What did it do? We'll refresh that device. It says it's disconnected. We know that's not true. And that's not true. That's nice. That's not helpful. How's this? No, we don't want that. Again, it's being a little bit of a brat. Here we are. So can you see the depth I've kind of been able to create? Oh, there we go. Now you can kind of see it because there's a little bit of shadow. So I'm doing that again with some of these and practicing with the clear, and then seeing. So to create this really, really deep black, I used alcohol inks, just Winston and Newton, whatever, those that come in the square. Oh, no, I didn't. I used Sumi ink, actually. Another, I do believe, alcohol-based. It does not specify on the label, but it's I think it's alcohol-based. So I'm going to pull this one out, because this was created before. Yeah, I'm going to pull this one out because it was created before these other blacks. This is the first black I did just to see what it was going to look like, and then I liked it, so I did the other one. Here we go, a little bit of depth being created. See, there's the red, and then it's clear at the edge, and you can kind of see the black coming through. If you look at the edge, yeah, you can definitely see my layers of what I'm doing, and I like the texture that's created. Rico Anande, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm just explaining some of the resin that I've been working on and the experiments I have going on. Yeah, I'm pretty high. It kind of reminds me of a brain a little bit. I don't know. The texture is maybe hard to capture on the camera, but it's nice. It's smooth. It's creating depth. I'll take the other one out. It's probably gonna be a little different, but it might be a little gummy. We'll work with it. I love the texture on this one. Can you see that? Oh, beautimous. With the black behind it. Of course, I didn't leave as much clear on the edge, but I'm hoping that black kind of really creates that depth. Made the same way, but still moderately different from one another. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with these, but it's a thing. So we're going to let these black pieces that I've already put in continue. I think on these black pieces here, what I should do is do a pouring of clear on top of them so that my next thing can create some depth and layers. That would be most excellent. Thanks. I'm so glad you like them, Rico and Ande. I don't know how long I'm going to be on today. Like, I'll be on my normal amount, but I might be on extra because it's a teacher work day. So the kids aren't in class, so I don't need to be there. And maybe I'll do resin and drawing today. It could happen. But right now I'm feeling the gravitation towards the resin. It's anti-anxiety for me. It's just like, experimenting. I don't know what I'm learning right now, but I'm learning something. How long have you been here, Rico and Ande? Did you hear my rant about everything? It's not a rant. It's, telling you what's going on in my life lately. A lot, per usual. I'm thinking. Yeah, it's going to be clear layers on everything with black in it. And so this may just peel up. Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's kind of fun. So I'm going to let that... Ooh, I just had an idea. I love ideas. My brain just started working. I see things. Can you want me to repeat it? Yeah, I mean, it's recorded too. Oh, just everything I'm doing, from the kids I got to work with and like the scientific experiment that we got to like really figure out our community and things that are going on because of these little dots on leaves. And they did end up being what I thought they were, which was bird's nest fungus spores. Being sprayed around the school, so that was really cool. And it was just really great to watch the kids like be like, what is this thing? What is this thing? And I got to sit there and be like, let's figure it out. And we did, and we explored in the great outdoors, and we like got on our hands and knees and like stared really close at concrete, trying to figure out if there were spores on the concrete. Oh my God, it was adorable. Like, they're spending their time staring at concrete. Okay, like... Okay, like that sounds like awful. It sounds like I'm into child abuse, but they are exploring their world and they are not on their phones. They're interacting with one another and they are learning about the world. But they were crawling on their hands and knees looking at concrete very closely. Trying to figure out where else these little dots were appearing so that we could develop a radius and then search that radius for the thing that was causing the dots, which is adorable. Come on. It's adorable when you have like, I guess it's like a 5th grader and like 3rd grader, 4th grader, who are, 2 4th graders who are just super into like figuring out where these dots are coming from. It was great. It was bird's nest fungus spores, as I suspected. Never park your cars near the bird's nest fungus because it's like tar and it sticks to your car and then it takes the paint with it when it comes off. But bird's nest fungus, really cool. So like doing that kind of stuff. And I just had an instant, I needed to buy some geodes for a science demonstration. I wanted to break some geodes live. And so I called ahead, made sure they were open to this rock and mineral place. And I arrived with my double mask on. Like, I'm a compromised person. I'm doing my part to keep me safe. Just hoping you're doing your part to keep me safe. And I walk in and stand in the vestibule, and the person there is at the desk and walking around, and she goes, oh, welcome, come on in. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I take a step, I'm waiting on like the mat that's inside the door, and she's just going about what she's doing. She's like, oh, you can come in. I was like, oh, I was just waiting for you to put on a mask. And she was like, we are at a masks not required store. I'm like, okay, cool, bye. Because, and what I said was, okay, cool, thanks. And I turned around and walked out. Because I'm not going to spend my money, especially not that much money, on like geodes and stuff, when their policies, the choices that they've made are like things that can literally kill me. Like I'm not going to support that. Because as a compromised person, I need people to get vaccinated and wear their masks. And like for them to have the policy that they are not going to wear masks just really could kill me, literally. So it's great to go out in public and realize how many people do actively want to kill you. So cool. So I did not spend money with them. I'll buy them on Amazon. If you know of a source, that would be really great. If you know of a source like for sustainable geodes and stuff, because like that are responsibly sourced, like that aren't destroying the communities that they're coming out of, or taking advantage of the workers who are doing all the work to get the geodes out. It might be cool to start adding that to my geode class where we make fake geodes out of trash. I'd really like to do that, but I need some sustainably sourced ones and all that kind of stuff, which I'm obviously not going to be able to get at that store because they have decided my life isn't worth them wearing a mask. So cool. Thanks, friends. Thanks. It's really great to be alive in this time where people don't see value in my life. Feels great. So I made these blacks with this Sumi ink and with the black mica powder, and it's beautiful. It's deep. It's dark. I'm loving the darkness of it. I was even able to reproduce it. These two pieces were made at separate times, so I reproduced that darkness reasonably well. But it is the one I poured yesterday. This one is still a little sticky because it's not quite to 24 hours. So I'm going to mix up a batch of clear resin and drop that in a bunch of places. And then with whatever's left over, I'm going to fill these tiny pieces. And we're going to do something. I'm not 100% sure on what, but we are going to do a something. All of this is just experimentation, and I'm figuring out how the dyes and the colors and everything react and support or don't support all the colors and things that I'm doing. And how they mix, interact, all of it. I'm working it. So I have some measuring cups here for the resin. These cups really are like full of just little buttons and gems that I'm making. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. They serve no real purpose in life. I am simply making them, as do most artists, I feel like so often do. We just simply must create. If you know an artist, you understand. If you are an artist, you get it. You really get it. So gloves, because I don't feel like being messy today. I mean, so I like messy, don't get me wrong, like messy is my happy place, but there is a limit to messy, and resin is definitely within that limit because it keeps multiplying, kind of like xanthan gum. You need some self-made buttons to have lying around. Right, yeah, it's you never know what the supply chain's gonna do to buttons, and if you lose a button on your jeans or something, you're gonna need a button, and you're not gonna wait 24 hours for that resin to set. So you need to have buttons. There's a lot of supply chain management. The one that I've heard that might affect me the most is glass jars. I'm not seeing, it's not something I get every week or anything, so I'm not too worried. But all us small business owners are like, we're not, because we're going to be the small accounts that clients are like, well, I got to support my bigger clients because I get more money from them. So there's a little nervousness going on for those of us with small businesses. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm not too worried. We're pretty well stocked here. I am not running a slim supply chain management at all. Yeah, so we're gonna, so this cup goes up to 30 milliliters that I'm pouring. Can you see it? You can't see it, can you? I need to move it onto the camera. Oh, over here. There we go. Now you can see me. Right. So I will measure half and half at 10 and 10 because stirring when you have 30 is really freaking annoying. If you've ever had to do that. There we go. And we're at 10. Beautimous. What other things have I been doing? Oh, well, as you know, schools are rarely funded super well. So I had to build, and this is drying out from water, removing it a little bit, so I'm watching this here. So I literally in the last week built cardboard shelves in my classroom so that there'd be enough space to like hang up all the kids' artwork. That's fun. Not hang up, but like to lay their artwork flat to dry. My art room is surprisingly, as I visit more and more art rooms, it's definitely on the small side. Which I'm okay with, but it's getting harder as I have like 180 students coming through my doors every week, and I don't know, man. I'm trying. I'm sure I'm doing a fine job. And the kids are great. My systems, my rubrics, and all of that are working really well. But it's just my own nervousness. I just want to do better, and you know, I felt bad because some students definitely lost their artwork in the last last week because there just wasn't space for all of it, and some of it literally got like stepped on and other stuff. So I feel bad for those students. So I want to figure out something that will make it a little better. You know what? I was thinking this is getting denser because it doesn't have a cap, and maybe there is actually water in this stuff. But now I'm remembering that my studio is suddenly like a lot more colder than it used to be. So it may be that it's just colder. That makes a lot more sense, actually, that it's colder. So I'm going to stir this up. I'll stir it left-handed. How about I stir it left-handed so I practice, you know, in case I lose my right hand. Like, let's not think like that. That's sad. But so that you guys can watch me stir. It's not nearly as efficient if I stir as me stirring with my right hand. I'm clearly right-handed. But here I go. Let's turn this so that you get a nice stirring view. Oh, here we go. That's on screen and I'm holding with my right hand. Okay, cool. Activity! What other interesting things going on in my life? I don't know, man. I went on a mushroom walk on Sunday. The Brookside Congregational Church that I'm helping out with the Sunday lessons are they have a large property with a lot of woods, and they even have like garden plots that you can sign up to care for and grow your own vegetables. And so I went on a mushroom walk and didn't find anything particularly interesting. But I'm constantly learning and trying to figure out how to identify more mushrooms. I heard it rumored that a chicken of the woods was found in that woods. But as I'm looking, and there are oaks in it, so it's conceivable. But I'm not finding them myself or evidence of them. There's a stream that runs through it that is being dammed by some beavers. And it's really, really cool to see the effects of their work. But it is filling up more and more, and it's getting wider and wider. Like, there used to be that there were sections in there that I thought I could jump across, like with a lot of work. And there are no more. They're definitely wading type. The beavers are slowing down the water and making it wider, which is what beavers do. It's just what they do. But I'm thinking maybe I'll mention that to them next time we talk. Yeah, it could be a problem. This is beginning to look mixed. I think it's mostly clear, and it's mostly bubbles that are contributing to the whiteness here. I'm going to throw the heat gun on it to see if that is indeed the case. Here we are. Heat gun. Ooh, I miss Anna. Anna used to love the heat gun. She liked the noise it made. As I just kind of stir it out, get some of the big bubbles out. I can't go too long because this cup will begin to melt. I've had that happen as I pull away the heat gun. And it gets a little more liquidy, which is good because it's heating up. All right, that's probably as far as I can take. Hey, we're good. We're good. We're good. As I drizzle all that everywhere. Yeah, so that's a lot more of the consistency that I'm expecting. But just with the cooler temps in here today. I don't feel like starting my heat yet. I'd love to be able to say I made it to November without turning on my heat. It's a New Englander pride thing where you try to like make it as long as you possibly can without turning on the heat. And this year it is particularly easy, admittedly, because of how warm it's been. There we go. So I'm throwing some clear in all of these that I am working on so that we can develop some depth. And it doesn't have to be the entire thing has depth, you know, I'm open to other ideas. But we certainly want to, how shall I, do a large portion. A large portion. A large portion would be good. Yeah, so my garden's doing all right, as one, you know, wants for their garden. What other things are exciting in the world? Maybe I talked too much at the beginning. Conceivable, sure. I picked up a book. Hey. Oh, you have to leave? Oh, well, I'm glad you joined. Thanks for coming in. It was great to hear from you. That you're live. Doing well, I presume. You like this? Books. You're gonna stick around because I started talking about books? Well, I read an amazing book. And it just, I couldn't put it down. You know what I mean? 5 minutes, okay. I could not put it down. So it was Chris Paolini's to Sleep Among Countless Stars, I think is the title. And I was thoroughly, it's new out science fiction, and it was really long, which was what made me pick it up in the first place. It was super duper long. I love long books. And so with my narcolepsy, I'm finding it harder and harder to stay awake while I'm reading. So I do a lot more listening to books while I do other stuff like this. And I did not anticipate the end at all. I thought they did a great job with a female-centric, or a female lead. Like, there was all kinds of just amazingness out of the book. And so I was like, I need to figure out and read the rest of what Chris Paolini has written. And they're like, oh, there's this really great fantasy series that this guy has written. And I'm like, ooh, awesome. Let's pick it up. Aragon, which apparently was also made into a movie that I somehow missed in pop culture. And I started reading it and listening to it, and I'm like, what is with this book? This is nothing like, I was like, why did I pick up this book again? And I looked at it, I was like, okay, so I really, really liked what he did with the science fiction, but his fantasy is kind of it turns out Chris Paolini is my age and wrote Aragon when he was 15 years old. The dude's a genius. I mean, okay, so like the book had issues, and as I was listening to it, I'm like, this book is coming across like out of the mind of a 13-year-old. Like, what is going on here? Like, this is not good. This is not good. I mean, the story is good, the writing's not. It's jerky. It's too obvious. I kept thinking the story reminded me of Star Wars, except with like mixed with Lord of the Rings. And I mean, that's not a bad mix, but it was just a little derivative, it felt like. So I'm finishing the series. So apparently this dude wrote this book at 15. He did. I mean, for a 15-year-old book, come on, come on. I work with 15-year-olds. I don't know of a single 15-year-old that can work like this or think like this. So I don't want to knock the dude. Like, I did not write a book at 15. Not even a little bit. And so I want to give major props to him for doing that. But I might not recommend the Aragon series. I mean, it's an interesting story. It's not well written. But the Sleep Among the Countless Stars is phenomenal. I can see he learned a lot with his experiences that he was working and when he was 15, and has just, it's amazing. It's good. It's good. It's good. That's, I mean, how else am I supposed to say it? It's really good. Everything that he's missing, if you will, in Aragon, he definitely makes up for in To Sleep Among the Countless Stars. It's you gotta read it. You just gotta read it. Yeah. I even didn't feel like the science was too gimmicky, you know? Like, a lot of times they get science wrong, or they just kind of ignore it. And I'm not, like, and if it's science fiction, you can't just ignore it. Hi, Emperor29 Gaming. Glad to have you. I'm live. I've been live. I've been live. I've been here. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I am talking about books just because I did read a fantastic book and then was really startled by other books that they wrote earlier, for lack of a better way to describe it. Yes, how are you? Welcome, welcome. As I, make resin things. I guess the resin one. Yeah, I know it can be hard. I am coming in a little earlier than I used to, just because after school activities have started. And so I, usually have to go by about 3 or so. This is filling up more than I had anticipated here, but that's okay. I'm a fan of where this is going. I'm trying to create depth. Trying. I don't know that I'm winning yet. But we shall try, as always. But yeah, so you gotta read Chris Paolini's latest book. You maybe don't have to read his older books, but his newest book is just amazing. But I am, of course, still finishing his other books because I want to know. Like, I want to see this progression. I've never really noticed a stark difference in a writer's skill quite like this before. So I'm fascinated that I've actually noticed a difference. What's an IELT IELTS test? What is that? I don't know what that is. Not even a little bit. It's good to study. Very good to study, in my opinion. But, I guess I kind of like school, so. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I'm going to use the heat gun real quick to spread these out, and then I'm going to mix a new batch. Right now I am adding some clear resin, yes, because I want to create depth in my pours. I've been doing it somewhat successfully with some of my buttons and other things, so I am working the same kind of idea with some of these. Also mixing in some alcohol inks to color the resin so it's not just mica powder. And that has created some really, the deep black you're seeing. So the alcohol inks mixed with the black mica powders as well. So now I am heating these up, and I have a feeling it's going to take a little bit more to heat these up because it is cooler in here today. I mean, I'm in flip-flops, but I'm also in a cashmere sweater, so. Bye, Rico and Ande. I hope you get to pick up that book because I think you'll like it. If you like books, you'll like this one. You can skip the Aragon series, so. Maybe I'll have a different opinion when I get through the third book. I'm only a little over halfway through the second one. But yeah, you gotta read Chris Paolini's latest story. It's so great. I did not anticipate liking it as much as I do. I mean, I usually like a book when I pick it up. There is few and far between that I found books that I don't like. I should be clear about. And it's not that I don't like the Aragon series. It's just clearly written, well, I thought a 13-year-old boy, but it was a 15-year-old boy. And, yeah, and it's worse when you think it's an adult man who has the mentality of, 15-year-old boy. Oh, you weren't a reader. What are you reading? What made you only discover it recently? Because I'm a huge fan of reading. I love reading, and with my narcolepsy, it makes me sad that I can't like sit down with hot cocoa and like read like I did growing up. Because I am falling asleep more. It is what it is. Word Power Made Easy. I don't know that one. Is that a nonfiction? Kind of sounds like a nonfiction. I go back and forth between fiction and nonfiction. I feel like it's my duty to read nonfiction. So my most recently I've been more into like civil rights and trying to better understand history that isn't always covered in education, formal education. But I really like dragons and fairies and elves. I really enjoy this, as well as science fiction. I deeply enjoy good science fiction as well. So, you know, my reading interests are varied, I suppose. I also really like biographies, particularly of women in unusual positions or women in fields that were previously dominated by men. That's always interesting. Yeah, I like those stories. But like the way they did it and how they navigated the spaces and the fights they had to have, like that's all super interesting stuff to me. This is taking a long time. There are a lot of bubbles. I think the cold is capturing him a little more. There we are. Well, I've got those bubbles out. That's the first one yet that I've been like, got him. It's the moving around. Gotta move around more, huh? That's cool. See, the last grammar book I read that I liked, Eat Shoots and Leaves. That was a good one. If you get confused by English grammar, and particularly in writing, Eats, Shoots, and Leaves is pretty funny. So how does the book go about teaching you more vocabulary? It can't be like a dictionary. I mean, like that would work, but be really boring, and you probably wouldn't like it all that much. What makes you like this one? We've got 3 bubbles here that just don't want to come out. Can you see them on your cameras? Probably not. This always aggravates me. I'm like throwing the heat at it. And they're not popping. They're moving. This makes no sense. No sense at all. Moving all that resin around, making waves, making waves. There we go. I'm going to get all the bubbles out. You just wait. All the bubbles shall come out. All of them. Really, I should get a pressure pot. Some kind of like means of pouring it out. Oh, okay. It's a workbook. Yeah, I love learning about the origins of words, particularly, you know, I don't know if other languages do it as much as English does, but like in English, all our words are like based on, not all of them, but it sure seems like we pick up a lot of words from other languages, particularly the Romantic languages. So it's a lot of fun to like learn those things. It's like a history book. It's like a storybook for the word. The word's life history. Or genetic history, depending. So is your newfound love of books purely from an educational standpoint? Or is it that you have some other reasons you like books too? Ooh, don't touch it, don't touch it. I see bubbles! The bubbles must die. They really, really must. Because I don't feel like having bubbles. I don't want bubbles. No bubbles. But yeah, that's what I do a lot while I'm working on all kinds of things, right? I listen to books. Because why not? So I can learn skills, I can listen to other people's stories, other people's art. Oh, that's exciting. I'm a big proponent of books. Yes. Do you have kids? Is that why you say it? Or are you just a fan of watching kids play with bubbles? There we go. We're going to get all these bubbles out. Bubbles and resin is bad. The heat really helps the popping, but really a pressure pot might be where I'm headed. There may be other uses for pressure pots too that I just should become more aware of. This one has a big bubble. Why isn't it coming out? There we are. Okay, it's at least not in the mold anymore. Don't know if that really helps. Yeah. At my lunch, I often take it in the parking lot at the school where I work. And the parking lot overlooks where the kids are playing while I'm on my lunch. And it's fun to see them interacting that way. And they're different than they are in my class. So hopefully I learn something about them that, you know, will help me teach them. And it's fun to watch kids play. Like, they're not stressed. They're not stressed like we are. There we go. Here's that, you know, the gun. It's not red right now. I have it on, I did have it on the higher setting, but I brought it down a little, seeing if that will help me. This is a lot of bubbles. Why is it being so bubbly? find it annoying. I really don't know. There are a lot of bubbles in this pack of pores. I really don't want a lot of bubbles. Especially since I'm pouring in layers, those bubbles tend to sit in the edge, like at the top, and then that tells you where the layers are, and that's no good. You want to hide that. You don't want anyone to be able to tell how you did it. It's a secret. Surely, everyone understands it's a secret. There we are. Some of the bubbles are coming out. That's good. I'm just going to have to do the work of running this pokey tool along the edges. Pokey tools. Not like Pokemon. These are not the same thing. Not at all the same thing. And I'm going to be adding more too, so I'm not too worried, but I do want these bubbles to go away. Far away. Yeah, I don't completely understand why these bubbles are sticking around this time. I'm gonna have to give up and get a pressure pot. It's not what I want. It's not what I want at all. Because it's like an investment. And it's money. They're expensive. But I don't get to make the rules about what looks good. I mean, I do a little bit, but like not like for real. Yeah, this is taking way longer than it should. As I try to get rid of the bubbles on the edges. No bubbles. I do not vent the bubbles. I don't know, are we there yet? Are we to the point where I should make my next batch of clear and add that in the places that needs it, and then add color where I need it too? That might be a thing. Yeah, I'm leaning towards that at the moment. You love the designs of the resin? Or something else? Did I mention something else? Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Ha ha ha. Yeah. I'm attacking. The bubbles must not... So see, that's all it was. The villains were all just resin artists who needed the bubbles to go away. As I drink my bubbles. Yeah. Powerpuff Girls, evil villains, were all just resin artists. Who needed the bubbles to go away so that their art would look good. And they were just artists trying to live their life. Thanks. Every once in a while I get a good one. I'm more an appreciator of humor than a creator of humor, which I 100% acknowledge and understand. But turns out I'm the Powerpuff Girl evil villain, particularly against bubbles. Okay, so I'm gonna mix another batch of clear because I didn't quite make enough to do what it is I needed to do today. And then if there's anything left in that, I will add a very slight opalescence perhaps with some kind of a whitish or something. I'm not sure yet. But I definitely need more clear. So we're going to do this again. I'm really at the bottom of my resin. By the way, if you ever have like resin brands and you're running low, don't mix your resin brands. As a heads up, part A, part B, all of that, it's going to be different between different types of resin. And that's an expensive mistake to make. If you didn't know. And yet somehow we always end up with one of them being a little less or a little more than the other. Even though we sit here and precisely measure exactly how much is going in here, we somehow always end up with uneven amounts around, especially when you're working with kids. Because they're like, ooh, that's close enough. And you're like, no, and then they keep doing it in the same direction. Yeah, don't mix resin brands. You can't use part A from one with part B from the other unless they like tell you you can do that. Or you understand the chemistry, which I don't know enough chemistry to know that. But it's cold in here, hence the part A on this brand is really thick. Thick like resin. Resin? It can. You know, if the smell bothers you, get the stuff that's like directed at kids. It's a little less fumey, fewer volatile organic compounds. We're going fast. We're going fast. You know, I get that. I totally get that. It does kind of have a smell. Or you think about it, there is a chemical reaction going through the two liquids to turn it into a solid, and that's pretty, I don't know, typical. Like, yeah, there's going to be volatile organic compounds happening. And I don't have the lid for this one anymore, so I can't put it on its side like the other one. And we're going to mix. Mix. There's a good place to do this mixing so that you can see it. Here, I'll move these molds over. Yes. And I will mix it here-ish. I should develop like a stand that will like hold this so I can mix it with one hand and not hold it, so you can see. Like a T88 resin, which is like a fast curing resin, really puts out a stink. We use that one in like our lesson where we're teaching kids about urine. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love science. But remember, I'm an artist and a scientist, so I haven't spent much time in like working in a lab other than like this being my lab. So there are always experts that know more than I do. I'm just a generalist, and I will always seek out the experts. And take the experts' advice. Always. They know more than I do. They're smarter than I am. They just know more. It's true. Trying to think, like, yeah. See, I'm a small size when it comes to gloves. I have mediums on me right now, and they're too big. They get in the way. All they just flappy fingers. Flappy fingers, man. You don't want flappy fingers. The other thing you have to watch out for, if you're mixing resin like this and you do give the overall thing a heat like I did, it is going to set faster. That's all there is to it. Aw, thanks. Thank you so much. I am working hard. I think other teachers work hard too, though. I don't know. The ones I interact with, they're all working hard. They are, in school systems at least, they are super duper limited in terms of what they can do. Like, they've been taught how to teach, they've been taught how to do things so that it's going to help kids, but the school systems are not set up to actually implement those kinds of things. And that's one of the hardest parts about being a teacher. And it's one of the reasons I'm not a teacher in the standard school system, is because I would find that very frustrating, and I would self-sabotage very quickly, because I would be so angry and upset, and I wouldn't be able to let it rest. I just wouldn't. And I know that. So I don't work in the standard school system. I work outside of it, so that I'm the boss and no one can tell me no. The secrets come out. The secrets come out. Every teacher I've worked with, now I've had teachers that I questioned whether they were as involved as the teachers I see every day. But like, every teacher I've worked with has been like always trying to solve everything, and help their kids. Like, a lot of the kids, like, seriously are coming to school hungry. They're coming to school hungry. And how, as a teacher, how can a teacher be expected to teach them when the kids are hungry? Especially in the public schools. Private schools, you know, you kind of expect a little different of an experience. But yeah, it's a thankless, heartbreaking job that does not pay near what it should. Yeah, you can't learn when your basic needs aren't met. Kids can't learn. And I don't know how it is where you are, but here they just finally made all school lunches free for all kids. Like, no applying for programs, no applying for anything, and I think that's fantastic. They also made riding the bus for free, which was not a thing before. I don't know how. I don't know how or why riding the bus wasn't free before, but it wasn't. Because I certainly grew up in a place where riding the bus was free. I don't understand. I don't understand. But yeah, if the kid, like, or if the kids are being abused, or if mom and dad are sick, or if mom and dad, you know, you can't, basic needs of these kids need to be met. That's all there is to it. And it breaks my heart when they're not. Yeah. Hence why learning has been challenging this past year, not just because it's been remote, but so many kids, their basic needs haven't actually been met. Mom and dad can't work and aren't, you know, don't have the food, or they don't have the resources, or, you know, they have to stay home with the kid. Like, it's more than just the fact that they are learning online. It's that with the teachers not seeing them in person every day, all their needs may not be recognized. Yeah. Anyways, there's my tirade. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, that makes sense to me. School lunches should be free. Anyways. But there are people who actively fight it here, which is the most bizarre thing. I don't understand it. But you know, whatever. Deep breath. Yeah, everything I just said. Yeah. And, you know, they keep taking away from program when they have to sometimes. Like, they don't have to take away from programs to, like, make football happen. Like, school budgets should not be going to football programs. Like, I just drove by, I guess it's been a long time since I was at a high school football game. And I'm talking American football. But it looked like college games. Maybe it's just been so long. And I'm in New England. It's not even the South, man, where football is king. Like, they had, like, people running with markers, like those highlighter things like they do in pro games. Like, people don't think it's they don't want this government money going towards feeding kids, one, and they feel that, you know, it's the mistake of the parent and that they should own that mistake for not being able to afford children. I agree. It makes no sense to me. None at all. we should be providing free lunches to kids, period. They need it. Yeah. I don't understand it either. Yeah, if I could give you the answer, I would. Um, I there are a lot of kids that are just don't have food. And you know, when you look at yeah. Anyways, there's a lot of data that says we should be feeding kids, okay? Like they can't concentrate in school. How can you expect them to concentrate in school if their stomachs are if they're literally starving? Yes. I agree. Those kids are not a mistake. And also, when you take away all options for family planning, people don't have a choice but to bring that child into the world. Yeah. So, I feel pretty strongly about that, and attend protests on the subject. Poor kids. They didn't ask to be brought into the world. The parents did it. The parents brought them in. And the parents are just, in most cases, I mean, so there are instances where parents are maybe, you know, bad faith actors or whatever you wanna say it, but they're trying. And you know, when there's drugs involved, it's an addiction. When they're stealing, yeah, that's not how those people see it. Yes, America has a lot of money, most of which goes into the military-industrial complex. Yeah, yeah. We have the money to feed these people. We have the money to give people a universal income, but we choose to spend it on war instead. I don't. I vote against those things, but it seems to be where we think things should go. You know, there's also this mentality for a lot of people, particularly Americans, where they're just out of luck millionaires, not realizing that they're highly unlikely to ever make that enough money for, you know, the taxes on the rich to negatively affect them. Everyone always just thinks they're just one gig, one thing away from becoming a millionaire, which is just couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth, you know? I get that, you get that. But for some reason, the people actually in these tough situations do not understand how far away they are from actually making enough money to be a millionaire or support themselves without going into debt. And it's basic math. Hence why I teach kids science. Because hopefully if we can get some better understanding on science going on, we will make better choices for our health, for our nation, for the environment. It's all science. I started this company before COVID, and it would have been nice to have some more kids who'd gone through my programs, like making decisions in places. Yeah. And drugs, it's an addiction, but people want to pass moral judgment instead, rather than, you know, placing the blame with the pharmaceutical companies that made these things so addictive and so easy to access and pushed them so hard on the physicians and claimed that they weren't addictive when the data said frickin' otherwise. But what do I know? Obviously nothing. Yeah, so Americole for office, I don't know when. No. I've got the games I'm playing. I'm playing them on a smaller field. I won't talk about it here. I'm working against those things though, just in a smaller field. Know that I am. Also with my work. You guys see that? Yeah. And that's, so, you know, that's what it ultimately came down to. Like the whole, my background. Have I told you this story? Stop me if I have. But like I started out in pharmaceuticals. You know, I'm a biomedical artist. I worked in it really, really is. It is so satisfying to work with these things. But I started out in the pharmaceutical world. And I ended up doing a little bit of like informed consent document creation. And when I was reviewing it, writing it, and trying to implement it, I really began to understand that the average American could not consent to the documents we were creating to participate in clinical trials. Because the education level was so low. Like people would agree to participate in this clinical trial and then be surprised that they were having a spinal tap done because they didn't know what a spinal tap was. And I don't, that says something about our education system that we need to fix. Now, some of it is a language barrier because we have immigrants and we have a fair number of them, sure. And so we have to write these documents for a level of understanding that is different than we'd like. But in reality, Americans themselves don't understand their own language adequately. And so I would push to have things like illustrations, and the University of Toronto was doing a lot of work with like adding video games or interactive components to understanding what they were agreeing to by participating in a clinical trial, which I thought was fantastic. I thought that was so cool. You know, I love that idea. I think it's amazing. Yes, let's do that. Here we go. I'm going to add a smidge of white, just the smallest smidge of white to this. There we are. That's maybe all I'm going to add. We'll see. I'm going to mix it in and see what comes out of it. So I worked doing these things, but pharmaceutical companies wouldn't pay that money. And that seemed wrong to me. So I did a couple stints in a couple areas outside of clinical trials after a while. Aseptic manufacturing and marketing for surgeons, plastic surgeons. And, so I did that for a bit, but then I got laid off because that happens a lot in that industry. And I don't know, like I should put this down. I can't put this down because this is hot and setting. So I got laid off, and so I was between jobs, and I was looking for jobs dealing with the fact that I have narcolepsy and am not going to be able to drive to Boston. It's an hour drive on a good day, not to mention during traffic. So I wasn't going to be able to work with the pharmaceutical companies there unless they let me work remotely or any of the research centers there, which would have been fantastic. Because I needed to work remotely. And so I was dealing with that on a mental and job search level. And a friend of mine who's a local illustrator, and he's done stuff for like the New Yorker and big publications, said he had a friend who was, I may have gone too far, we'll see, who said that they were looking for someone to teach their son more, to draw. He was very scientifically minded and gifted, but kind of lacking in artistic development. And so I said yes, and began teaching him, and he very quickly became a fantastic artist. I'm super happy with what he did and accomplished. Sorry, I'm trying to match. They're different. Okay. And so he became a pretty good artist, and his mom happened to be the headmaster at a school and asked if I would be interested in doing classes for kids, like on the regular after school. So I said yes, and so I started teaching kids, and And my thing that I was always doing was I was always coming at it from a scientific angle, right? So that's why I was able to help. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Thanks. I'm not a doctor. I'm not. Maybe a little bit of a philanthropist, a social worker by necessity, mental health helper. You can't help it. You gotta help the kids. You can't just let them hang. You can't. Yeah, you gotta. Yes. You have to help the kids. I don't know how to live without doing that. But yeah, so I did that for like 2 weeks, and then within 2 weeks I started at another school. I'm not a biomedical engineer. My husband might be, but I am not an engineer. Exactly. And yes, I may have worked as a medical assistant and I have a lot of medical knowledge, but I am not a doctor, nor am I an art therapist. I don't have those designations, claims, or abilities to claim those things, just so that I'm clear for my legal reasons or whatever it is that I need to worry about. Nope. So within 2 weeks, I was at a charter school that was science focused. And then within 6 months, I was in all the Title I schools, which is a government designation for our schools to help. So if there are a certain number of students in that school, or a certain percentage of those students in that school that are on lunch assistance, then they get designated as Title I. And so, thanks. Thank you very much. So I was in almost all the schools around Manchester that are Title I, within 6 months of starting the organization. He sometimes comes out and brings me stuff, but he doesn't jump on the camera. You can hear his voice on Instagram. The little morning glory monster that danced, the voice that's going hello at the beginning, that's his voice. He was just playing. We were just playing at the in the garden, and he did that, and it was adorable. So I turned it into an Instagram video. But you can hear his voice, and and so I just kept growing and started bringing it to more people, bringing it to Parks and Rec departments, housing and urban development projects, all kinds of like really just amazing places. And it works is the thing. And so like there's even like a researcher who, once things get rolling again, wants to like see if we can do a long-term like study on what I'm doing and how it helps and whether it works or not. And so we can prove the long-term effects of a program like mine in helping people learn to educate, which I am excited about and hope happens. It just might happen one day. And in talks with people who were interested in perhaps helping my program go to a national level, which I also hope will happen one day. So there's a lot that I'm trying to do. No promises in anything. It's all just a bunch of work. And maybe I'll get there one day. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll have it all, and I'll be able to reach every kid that I can think of, and some that I can't think of, and that'd be amazing. But for now, not yet. Not yet. COVID really put a slowdown on a lot of this. There were some big events that we were working on when COVID happened that would have been really, really great, but did not happen. What other things? I don't know. So that's where I like got my start with all this, was really in the clinical trial industry, and realizing that the pharmaceutical companies were taking advantage of people, just like they are with the opioid epidemic. by the way. Anyways. Micron and Pentel. So this is my Pentel pen. It's my favorite pen on the planet. It's a pen. It's a brush pen. And then Microns are some of my favorite drawing pens. So I was trying to decide today whether I was going to work on resin or draw. And I guess resin won today. You know, it's kind of meditative for me. You can imagine with everything I'm doing, things can get a little stressful. So the resin, just kind of experimenting and learning without a final objective, can help me just be a little on the calmer side, you know, because I need that. I do need that sometimes, and I don't do it enough. Like that whole self-care aspect of things, yeah. I'm not super great at that. Well, the resin is at the point that I love it the most. So I can string it along. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, and I don't know that I can make it create nice long strings. And that is so much fun. I'm convinced that there's like a certain secret like point that I should be able to, why is this not moving forward? There should be some kind of like, wow, this is really stuck. What is it stuck on? There we are. That there should be some secret point where I can take resin and at a certain setting point, I can draw with it. It would take maybe a little more science and patience than I seem to be throwing into my resin lately, but I'm convinced there is something. I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of convinced there's something. I'll figure it out one day. Yeah. So I just got all the white where I think I need it. Now I'm going to have to hit that with the heat gun. But yeah, so I've had a non-traditional career path. Mr. Scientist and Mrs. Scientist? Yeah, pretty much. It's not inaccurate at all. Oh, gotta put a glove back on. That handle on my heat gun is sticky. I know that. I know better. I know better. So here I go. Get a glove on so I can hold the heat gun. And we're gonna try and get a few more bubbles out maybe. Bubbles out of the white sparkly bits I just created. Because I see bubbles. And I don't want bubbles. We've been through this. Bubbles are bad. Bubbles are bad. Bubbles are bad. There we go. Get them out of there. Yes, yes. Why are the bubbles not wanting to come out today? I'm having to poke them and prod them and do things to them where they should just like come out. Don't understand. Somebody tell me. Like I can see the bubble. I can see the bubble and it's not going away. There, it went away. Really don't understand. Why are the bubbles being difficult? There must be an answer. How is a heat gun different from a hairdryer? Well, one, it gets a lot hotter. A lot hotter. Like, way hotter. And it's less about actual blowing air than creating heat and directing it in a direction. Like, the hairdryer is trying to push air through your hair, right? And it's heating air because that makes it dry faster. Whereas the heat gun is about making heat and then directing that heat. I hope I explained that adequately. But yeah, the heat gun can like melt stuff. Yeah, it can definitely melt stuff. Whereas a hairdryer sometimes can kind of melt stuff. This here, I'll put it up, I'll turn it to 11. And I'll show you something. Give it a second, it needs to work. So 11, when I turn it up all the way, it kind of creates waves in the resin, which sometimes I want, but sometimes I don't want, because I don't want it to mess with the pattern that I'm creating with the resin that I'm dropping down. Especially when I'm using like fine details, like stretching that resin across stuff. Can you see the waves? Yeah, there you go. So here it's not going to hurt too much. There, it's not going to hurt too much. See, I'm attacking a bubble there. You can see this bubble. Why is the bubble not going away? I don't understand. I'm going to have to attack it with a pokey tool. There, and then it went. Yes, in certain applications, bubbles can in fact take lives. But here at, at 11, can you see the heat? No, it's not really getting that hot. Well, we'll keep it going. It will start turning red on the inside. Working the bubbles, making them go away. Hopefully not adding more. I'm going to have to do a pressure pot. This is, I mean, it's satisfying, but it's not it's unsatisfactory in terms of the results. In my opinion. Let's see here. What have we got going on? Anything in particular? That looks like a bubble I can pop. Oh, it's not. I don't know what that is. We'll find out when we pull it out. Yeah, see, I start getting my head close, and I see more bubbles. So, like, I don't want those bubbles. I'm going to have to get some kind of pressure chamber. I have made little itty-bitty ones, but it would not hold these. That you could, like, fill with a bicycle pump kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not thrilled. Just simply not thrilled. Bubble Buster. Maybe that's what I should be calling the videos when I'm working with resin. I'm going to kill all the bubbles. Okay, I am going to move these aside, and I do want to get something going in these little small molds, because I don't know why I'm so obsessed with them, but I keep filling them, and I need to pick that one up. It jumped right out of the trash can. And I need that in the trash so it doesn't make a mess on my floor. See, you're getting me a little longer today because I don't have kids today. It's a teacher work day, so the kids are not at school. Let's see here. All right, I'm finding this. Well, I'm learning things from it, right? Here we are. Slide this over, get the little ones in there. And I want to line it up so that I associate the various, oh, now you can't see both. Edible. You know, I have played with some of these molds with doing candy in them instead of resin. It's not less forgiving. It's less forgiving because things move so quickly. But it certainly is possible. What colors am I gonna do? So I'm doing the green and gold over here. I did some black. Let's take a look. I'm gonna take the glove off. let's take a look at my inks, because I'd like to do something not black. So I've got the green, I've got the yellow, I've got nut brown, I've got nut brown, I've got orange, I've got a bright blue, a violet, and a strawberry red. I think I'm going to mix these together and create a teal. Let's make a teal. So I'm going to take the blue, and it's just these, I don't know, whatever, you know, Winsor & Newton blues. Yeah, teal is super popular right now, so like everyone loves teal. We'll just make teal. That's like the default. Watch out for teal though, because it's going to become our avocado green or harvest gold, you know, from the 70s, that we look at everything like, oh my god, that decade. So like, don't like obsess over it too much. Don't use it too much. Teal will be our avocado gold, or avocado gold. Avocado, whoop, that's too much. I only need a little bit. Teal will become our 3, almost 4 drops. We'll call that roughly 4. Teal will be our avocado green. And it will date everything from this decade to this time period. And people will find it frustrating. So when they want their fridge, but it's a great fridge, but it's in avocado, it's in teal. It's in that teal that everyone used forever. All right, cleaning that out. And I'm going to use a smidge of this emerald green here. Oh, I'm trying to figure out where I have it aimed here. Okay, so a little bit of this. I'm thinking just 1 drop of this. Actually, we should do the yellow first. I'm going to do a drop of yellow and a drop of green, and then we're going to see what color comes out of it. So one drop yellow. And clean it. I did not make these. I bought these. Mostly because, what did I need in them? I needed some specific mold. The button molds. I wanted the button molds, and these all came with my buttons. 1, 2. So these came with it, and I've had a lot of fun with them. And I bought 2 sets because it's so hard to make that same exact color twice. So when I'm making buttons, I usually need 2 because I need them for my headbands that hold my stuff together. Okay, here's the color I have created. Let us test it on something. Give me a paintbrush. I have paintbrushes, theoretically. Here we go. Nice little one. I like it. It's a good color. Let's use it. Alrighty. So I'm going to make resin. Oh, what mica powder should I use? Should I use a mica powder at all? Questions. Of these, I don't really want any of these mica powders in it. Hold on. I think I know what I want. More mica powders. What color do I want? It's this one. I want this one, right? No, that's too baby blue. Baby blue bad. That's better. We'll add maybe a smidge of that with a smidge of this. That will get us there. I also have this green, which would make it more, ooh, I like that. That's more adult color, less kid color. Cool. Mica's used in medicines. Really? Tell me more about that. Tell me all about that. I like mica powders because it's a sustainable source of glitter, right? It's just ground up rocks. And we have a lot of mica mines around here, New Hampshire and particularly Maine. Apparently we're some of the biggest areas that supplied mica. And when you get mica in giant sheets, they used it in stoves to be the window. Because glass, of course, would melt in stoves with fire and shatter and that kind of stuff. So giant sheets of mica used to be really valuable. Just saying. That's my knowledge of mica. Okay, we are going to make another batch. And put on, well, first we're going to put on more gloves. And then we are going to make another batch of resin. Now, do I think in here, oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. We'll figure it out. I have enough to make anything. Anything at all. Tell me everything about mica and medicines. I do know that mica is what you see as edible glitter. If you don't follow Fancy Sprinkles on Instagram, you should. Because that's what I watch when I need a break. Is Fancy Sprinkles, because everything in the world is better with glitter and sprinkles. Especially when it can be sustainably sourced. As I pour this next batch of resin. Okay, am I going to make it to 10? I think I'm going to make it to 10, so we're going to get a full batch out of this little thing. Come on. Keep going, bottle. A little more. Little more. You can do it. This is probably the last bit I'm going to get out of this bottle. But I said that about the last one, too, in my head, though I didn't say it out loud. Come on. Oh, look at that. We are right there. We are right there. Okay, good. Tell me about the mica and medicines. I'm impatient. As I hold this upside down and attempt to get the thicker stuff out. This looks very risky. If you sped this up, this would look terrifying. There we are. There we go. We're almost there. Come on. Gotta slow it down because this stuff comes out in globs. Past the 15. Let's bring us to the 20. Come on. Ooh, I just saw the text move. I know that there's information there for me. I just can't look away from my measuring at the moment. I see that the text has moved, and I am looking forward to learning about mica in medicines. Here we go. Oh, almost, almost, almost. Oh, there it is. That's gotta be it. That's gotta be it. Abrec purified mica. It's used to make a really good cold allergy medicine powder. Huh. Abracabasma, which you need to take with a spoon of honey every day for a few months straight to improve your body resistance. You never catch a cold. Has there been a clinical trial on this? How would it work? Why would mica make you healthier? Why would mica make... Why would mica make you better? Interesting. I don't know anything about it. I've never heard of it. My understanding is it's basically like consuming dirt because it's just a rock. But I don't know. I may have gone overboard. I might not have needed quite this much resin. I'll make more buttons. It'll be fine. I figured you were typing a long lesson. Or a long message. I was just being impatient. You said you had information for me about some of my favorite things, glitter and medicine. Come on. As I stir the resin, stir. This takes too long. But it's good, it's necessary, I guess. Somebody tell me it's necessary. It is, I know it is. I don't need anyone to tell me it's necessary. Here, we're gonna let it set for a moment while I put away the green because I am kind of making more of a mess here than I need to. Huh. It says that this ink has shellac in it, which I did not anticipate. I hadn't thought about before. I wonder if that will affect things. I don't know anything about that. I need to see a clinical trial on it. For sure. Gotta do the research. Be the science. Rawr. Here we go. Get some of the bubbles out. At least on the surface. The big ones. And I'm going to turn this into a teal. There we are. I think that's pretty well combined. And then so I'm going to use the dropper bottle. I'm going to pick up a little bit. I'm going to put one drop in. And then I'm going to mix that in to see what color it makes. Is it light enough? Is it dark enough? Oh, I'm blocking the camera. Bad me. It is very hot. Then I have to wonder if like it's becoming glass again at that point, the mica. To heat to 700 to 900 degrees Celsius. So is this a pharmaceutical product? So you're in India, right? So I'm trying to think of what the regulations are in India for medical products. In terms of like requirements for clinical trials and proof of efficacy. So is this an over-the-counter medicine, or is this something that's prescribed by a physician? It's definitely a teal. If I take this, and I'm literally going to take the smallest amount of it just by sticking, yeah, that's all I want. Just that much, just a smidge, and then I'm going to do the same to the blue. By opening it up and with the other side of the popsicle stick. No, I've not heard of Ayurvedic medicine. I'm familiar with nutraceuticals, which is I think what we call a similar thing here in the US. It's interesting. There's definitely some indication that it might be helpful, but we haven't most often done the clinical trials adequate on them to understand how they work or how they don't work. And a lot of today's working medicines come from plants, like Taxol came from a tree, and that's one of the most used breast cancer treatment drugs. So there's certainly a lot that we don't understand yet in the whole world, right? There we go. Look at this. Okay, so there's just a smidge of shimmer in this, I think. But is it enough, is the question. I'm not 100% convinced yet that it's enough. I mean, I see it-ish. I think it needs more green. We're going to try again on the green. Pull in some more green. See how little I'm adding? I don't know if you can see that. Interesting. It sounds very different than what we have in the US. Now we have doctors of osteopathy who treat most conditions as more systemic and like whole body treatments. They can be hard to find though. And then, you know, we have standard medicine, whatever, Western medicine, whatever you want to call it. And that's done by the FDA. Well, the medicines are regulated by the FDA. And then we have, I don't know that we have quite a parallel, but I don't know enough about it to know anything. There we go, working a lot of those bubbles out, really loosening up this resin so it can move freely. Get as much of those bubbles out as possible. Okay, so this is a great looking color, I feel like. Here we are. I'm going to add a little bit to this square over here because I want to see what it will do when in contact with the resin there. Cool. I like it so far. Let's hit it with the heat right away. Get some of those bubbles out. Interesting. Okay, so it's just fading in. About what I expected. But I wanted to be sure. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. And let's throw some blue in a bunch of these things. Because a bunch of blue would be really, really great to have in terms of lots of itty bitty little resin crystals. Here we are, filling it slowly but surely. Can you see it yet? Not quite. It's a very, very faint blue. Almost looks like a blue topaz or something, which is cool. Nice. Filling them up. Get some beautiful colors. Yeah. Good to talk with you too, Ember Gaming. Do go to bed. I'm sure you have things to do, especially that studying. Don't let your studying go down. You gotta get that stuff done. You're gonna take your test. You're gonna do great, in case I don't hear from you. So I'm gonna fill this with this little bit of blue. I'm gonna scrape it off too, because I don't want to have to deal with that much flashing. There we are. Filling it up. Made lots of little blue things. I don't know if it's better that it's blue and solid, or I don't know anything. Like, I like the ones that have like natural gradients, well, not natural, but gradients in them that I'm creating, but at the same time, like, does that look natural? Why am I trying to replicate something that nature does well. Like, shouldn't I be doing something that nature doesn't do well? I'm not quite sure. I'm not settled on that as I do these things. I'm not sure what my purpose is. Again, these are just experiments that I'm like working on. I don't know that I have a purpose yet. That one has a bubble in it. I can see it. It's going to bother me. Drat. There we go. Fill this up. Get it into a good place. I also don't usually do the mica powders so lightly. I usually do them much more intently, which creates a more opaque existence. But I do want to, of course, fill these. So I want to see what's going to happen because I've never done it quite this light, especially not with a combination of alcohol dyes, inks really, and the mica powder. I think I've done each separately, but not together. So I'm sure I'm going to learn quite a bit here. Gotta love it when you know you're going to learn something. There we go. Fill the diamond, fill the heart, fill the oval. Fill the oval. Fill the circle and the circle. And these little baguettes that are so cute. It just takes a drop basically to fill some of these that they're so tiny. Wow, is that full? And I still have so much left. What am I gonna do with it all? I'm gonna put it here. I think that would be delightful. Yes, yes, that is delightful. Way over here. Yes, I see. I need to move you this way so that you can see what I am doing. Ooh. There? Oh, not that. Okay, here, over here. There we go. Can you see it? Yes, you can see it now. Yes, it is good. That is good. I like it. I find it acceptable. Nice. Now, this one has, these are going to be blues and blacks. I've decided because I have this blue here. I'm going to put it here, and it's going to fill it up, and then there, right? And it's going to fade because that other resin is still kind of wet. So I'm going to learn things from that. But each of these is done just a little different. So that will teach me something too. Cool. Nice. Yeah. All right, what else do I fill up? Oh, I'm going to do this button because this button will be adorable. Can you see the button? You can see the button. There we go. Nice little blue buttons. Well, how do I feel about putting blue on these green buttons? Maybe that's what I should do. It could be cute. Let's do it. A little blue here. A little blue here. That one has already decided it's going to be copper, so we're not going to mess with that one. What do I do? I have some. Okay, so this one has a hole in it, so we'll put some blue there. And to match, we'll put some blue here. Very nice. Anything else need blue? Not that I can see. Well, let's fill up this diamond just a smidge. The bubbles have moved. And I guess we'll save the rest to top these off after I hit them with the heat gun. You know what else I could do? Oh, that's a thought. That is a thought. I could add another drop of it, which would make it super concentrated. And that super concentrated will probably fade a little bit and create like a gradient, I think. As I work to get the bubbles out again. Need the heat. The heat is what makes... Oh, that's annoying. Sorry. Really working these in. This will be a full button done in basically one pour. It's a couple different mixes, but there's a set at the same time, I think. I should probably run something through because there's a ridge there. So I want to make sure I get that ridge really filled up, and so it doesn't get bubbles in it. I seem to be having bubble problems today, so maybe this wasn't the best one to fill. But it's already done, so what are we going to do? Other than try hard to get the bubbles out. Can't always see them either, which is deeply frustrating, as you can imagine. Alright. Working the blue in, anticipating that it will fade. But it's not getting them all. Oh, I'm not on screen anymore. Well, we're going to go for these. See all that little white stuff you see collecting at the center of the molds? Those are bubbles, and I am trying to get those out. Some of them do go. Some of them do not. Yeah, just worry, and I can smell the resin starting to set. More so because I'm adding heat to it, which really increases the smell. The volatile organic compounds. There we go. The bubbles are going. Do you see them go? I see them go. I see a bubble. I'm going after it. It's not letting me win. The brat. There, got it. Really working to get rid of some of these bubbles. I'd like it to be perfectly clear. Bubbles are bad. Bubbles are bad. I'm going to get rid of all the bubbles, I think. What do you think? Can I do it? I would really like to. I'm working on it. But I don't know that it's going to happen. It would be nice. Really great. Working it. I'm getting some. Getting some. Some of the bubbles are in fact going away. It's a good thing. See? More bubbles have come to the surface, and I am working hard to get rid of them. And I can see bubbles here that are not coming to the surface, and that makes me annoyed. Yeah, next time I'll go about it differently. I think even a light color change like this will barely be noticeable with the line of two different resin pours, you know, allowing for one to set on those areas where, yeah. I think that's what I do in the future. Now I am going to choose to add another drop of this color to this more concentrated resin because I've already removed some, right? So it's going to be more concentrated. And I'm going to mix that in. See, look at that. Look at that. Mix, 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 mix. And it is more concentrated. I'm going to drop a few drops in places where I'm like interested in that happening. So we're going to do a diamond here. And here. Because we want them to match. And then one here. Ooh, that was a big one. Whoops. So that's almost like a half change. And then we'll do that same thing here. Half change, whatever. And because I love the marquee shape, we're going to put one in the marquee shape over here. And what else? Maybe the teardrop shape here. So I'll mimic that here. I do seem to like the gradients on this shape. And so this shape also. And maybe this round one looks like it could take a drop in the center. Let's see what happens. Here we go. And it's going to be a big drop. Spin it in the hopes. There we go. That's more reasonable. And where else should I experiment like this? Maybe just one here, because I'm gonna heat that and spin that around. And then here. And here, because I did add a drop there of the other stuff. So we're gonna heat it again and see what happens. Yeah, not a lot, just a few drops, but it's far more concentrated when it comes to the dye or the alcohol inks. So I'm going to move it around with the heat gun. Because that movement should, one, it'll help the bubbles get out, but it will also maybe encourage it to kind of mix in a weird way. There we go. That's what I wanted. Oh, and it's going right back. Did you see that? It was like the blob and it moved, and then it went right back. Huh. Not quite doing what I expected. Okay. We're going to heat these up to get the bubbles out and see how they bleed through. Focusing, of course, on the ones that I just put drops on. Because I'd like them to diffuse, but I don't know that they will. Just so that there's a little bit of a gradient happening. Oh, the teardrop has some blue in it. I must force it. And the other one, because it happened. Here we are, really working those out. Smushing it around, smushing it around. Create that gradient, loveliness. Not bad looking, if you ask me. Not bad at all. And they are creating little bits of gradients. It's not great, but it's happening. Cool. All right, I think I'm gonna let it set. I think that's what it is. My bad foot is starting to cramp. This has never happened before. Oh, hello, Zamferati. Oh, what is Swedish bread? Tell me. Oh. Mercedes A-Class, really? Why a Mercedes A-Class? I have to remember, I have an old Mercedes. Wow, welcome. Sorry, I was so focused. I was just so focused. An A200. I think I have M I'm gonna have to do some Googling here. That's my husband's project. It's got a vegetable oil conversion fuel kit on it. And it's a station wagon. So we've usually used, it as our kayak machine. Because it's long enough for our 18-foot kayaks. They still hang off, but it's long enough to support them. It's an 1985. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I just got a cramp in my foot as I was working that. Ooh. Okay, fun. That sounds ritzy. For Mercedes is gonna. Is that an original thing, or is that something you're adding like aftermarket, so that it'll display the logo? That sounds really techy. Yeah, I'm doing the resin today. The resin one. It was just sitting here, and I hadn't cleaned it up, so I did more. The resin one. That sounds like a really great project. Ours is old and beat up. Actually, we're looking for someone to take it off our hands. We'd sell it to them, the right person. It has to be the right person. It's more about the person. We'd sell ours for $2 to the right person who would keep it running. That's all we want, is that it keeps running. That's what we bought it for. So, if you're looking for another one. Let me see. Let me look up Mercedes classes here, because I can't remember what class ours is. I could also ask. Oh man, I don't have anywhere to put my freaking keyboard. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. There we are. Mercedes classes. Mine is old. 1985. It's not a C. Where is it? It's station wagon. It's a station wagon, okay? Like, oh, it kind of looks like. No, that's not right. Kind of looks like this 1, 2, 3 series. Oh, that's. No, well, that's not right. I don't know. There are some fine details that are changing between Mercedes classes, and I don't know which one it is. I guess I should put in station. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. Station wagon. I mean, I could just go outside and look at it real quick. Well, that looks familiar. E-class? I don't know. Maybe I should just text my husband. He knows. He knows what it is. Okay, so what color is it? What color is your Mercedes? What classes are Mercedes? I'm gonna ask. Engine stock. Yeah, ours is stock, but it has a veggie fuel conversion kit on it, and it's long, which is helpful. White. Ours is silver and rust. What classes are? Well, what class is Liesel? Her name's Liesel. The Mercedes name is Liesel. Liesel the Diesel. We did not name her. The children of the previous owners did. Okay. We don't drive it that much. It really is just our kayak moving machine. and our truck when we needed that. It's no longer inspected and like on the road. It could run. It runs. I mean, it runs. It's just there's taxes and stuff involved and insurance that if we're not kayaking right now, which we're not, then that's the primary. So we have these like 18-foot long wooden ocean kayaks, and we use that to move it. So it's a special use vehicle, and it has antique plates on it. So it's a 300 TD. Our Mercedes is a 300 TD. Silver and rust. So it's like, it's not my daily driver. My daily driver is a Prius hatchback so that I can get all the lessons in it I need to go from class to class and school to school, and get great gas mileage, because sometimes I'm going an hour south and an hour north. Fortunately, hasn't happened in the same day, but it's conceivable. So when I'm driving around lessons, I need a hatchback, and I can carry 9 lessons in that thing at once. I've done it. The station wagon could probably hold more, but she's kind of a beast to move around, like especially in comparison to a Prius, which is a joy. So glad we have, because our garage, we didn't measure it when we bought the house, and the Prius fits with 2 inches to spare. So when we back into the garage, we literally have an inch in the front and an inch in the back. Yeah. So, it's very good that the Prius is good. But yeah, so we have an 85 Mercedes 300 TD, that we would sell for $2 to the right home. Yeah, most cars don't fit in that garage though. I don't know why they built it. We technically, yeah, we have a lot of garage space. See, we're people with projects, and lots of projects. And so the garage space is essential for all our tools and things that we're constantly working on. Like we have a hoist of some kind that will do things. We have an extra shower stall for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, like we've done the apartment life. We did the condo life too, and quickly discovered that's not right for us. We clearly are people who should have garages and yards to work on things, and don't do well when people want to tell us how to do our life and work on our life. Yeah, like a power washer. We don't actually have a power washer. Actually, that's one of the few tools we don't have. We should remedy that. We don't have a power washer. We do have a drill press, a table saw, 2 lathes, 1 metal, 1 wood. We have a router. We have a snow blower, because that's necessary. We don't have a lawnmower, because our lawnmower is a real mower, like the old-fashioned ones, because our yard is relatively small. Big for the city, small for like everywhere. And I don't see the need for fossil fuels to cut our grass, which we only have to do a couple times, 3 or 4 times a year, because we don't let it, it's fine. It's fine long. I'm fine with it long, as long as the city doesn't complain. And then, what else? What other weird tools? We have some wrestling mats for some reason. It made sense when we got them. We had a treadmill rock climbing wall, but why we gave out the wall, we gave away the wall and didn't keep the mat, and kept them. I don't know why we kept the mats. Okay, it's weird. Ladders. We need ladders. Lots of ladders. Car parts. My glass blowing still isn't in the house. That's stored in the garage right now, like all my art from glass blowing. We'll get it in the house one day. We'll get it there. Oh, winter tires and wheels. Actually, winter wheels and summer wheels, like, because we have snow and ice here, so we switch out the wheels completely. It's easier than doing the tires. Like, we have stuff. We just have stuff. We have some collections of soapstone that need to be cut and installed. Yeah, it's probably getting to be about time for us to do that. We would be thinking about it normally about now, but it's been so warm lately that it seems excessive to put the snow tires on right now. And, you know, technically I am working with the school system, so anytime it's even shady out, school gets called, right? So I don't have to go anywhere. I have done those long drives, like, a drive that should take a half hour and it took them, it took 2 hours because of snow. I've done those drives as well. So there's that. And the Prius is nice because it's heavy, it's got all those batteries, so it's nice and heavy and it packs itself down into the snow. It's actually a really solid snow driver, I have to say. If you're thinking of another vehicle, this Prius is actually really good in the snow. But schools get canceled, so I don't really have to go anywhere anymore. It's probably one of the biggest advantages to not being in the pharmaceutical industry anymore and working for school systems is that snow days, they're not like, oh, you have to make it in the office. And actually, probably because of COVID and everyone's set up to remote work, they don't do that as harshly now, but they did. And I thought it was ridiculous. I'm like, there's snow, there's internet, I have a computer, let me work from home. But they never did, so whatever. I mean, so my last employer did, but still. I've got my seltzer, my vanilla seltzer, because I'm vanilla today. No, I'm not really. Yeah, so you got an extra long session with me today. I am leaning towards the wrapping up stage. Not completely yet, but because school's out today, teacher work day, no class today. Yeah, I don't know. What else has been going on? I think I'm gonna harvest my carrots soon. I haven't talked about what I'm harvesting. Well, I talked about my green beans, but I think the carrots get harvested soon. They're getting quite big. These Corota carrots really do grow to like the width of a wine bottle or my forearm. So those are fun carrots to grow. I'm just kind of when I harvest them, I'm going to have to preserve the ones that I'm not eating right away because these are not commercial grown carrots, so they don't hold up well in the fridge and stuff. So I just harvest them as I eat them or whatever. I'm seeing Fairpoint Communications driving up and down the road, putting new wires on the utility poles, which means I'm gonna have fiber soon. It's not yet, and I keep calling them, being like, "Do we have fiber yet? Do we have fiber yet? Do we have fiber yet?" Because I would really like fiber internet. Did you know last month I used 1,000 gigs of internet? That's what this does, okay? Not only am I streaming, but I'm recording videos in classes and I'm uploading them to my video editor and doing video editing myself, and then I'm uploading them. And like, I am using 1,000 gigs of internet a month, people. Oh, we're supposed to. Like, corporations are corrupt in America. Yeah, corporations in America are corrupt. Like, they gave a bunch of money to the government. The government gave a bunch of money to the utilities to upgrade their infrastructure to give everyone fiber. And they just pocketed the money and didn't do it. And no one has called them out on it. No one's doing anything about it. It pisses me off. And I have to give them service because, like, internet is a utility. We should have it. Oh, everything is corrupt. I'm fighting the man every day. Everything is corrupt. What are you doing to fix the world today, Zamparati? What do you do to fight the corruption? Fight it. Punch it. Knock it out. I don't know. I am doing a fight that I won't talk about on the internet. But anyways, that's all I'm saying. I'm always fighting it every day by educating kids about science. If they can make decisions based on science, we'll have less corruption. Yeah, that's my theory on it. That's why I do what I do. What else is going on? I don't know. That's like it, living life, doing the things, worrying about people, because that's what I do. Maybe I should wiggle this back and forth a bit. Ooh, it's setting. Do you see that? Oh, can you see that on screen? Yeah, look, it's setting. It will set back in, so I can, it's at this really great kind of sculpting stage of the resin. Oh, it's so cool. I can sculpt with it. Okay, we're gonna drag this through like this, and we're gonna sculpt with it. Oh my gosh, I just discovered something new, and I love it. Okay, drag it through, drag it through. Oh my gosh, this is cool. Did you know this was going to happen today? I just discovered a new way to play with resin. You know, just saying, found a new way to play with resin because I'm cool like that. Oh man, this is great. I don't know if it's going to work everywhere, but I'm going to try. This is kind of awesome. So I'm going to wiggle this one around quite a bit because I want to see what happens when I really mix the two together. Oh yeah, I'm learning things. This is a good playing stage. Coolness. I'm not going to touch that so that there's some semblance of a control. Oh, that is fun. Okay, I learned something today, that I can manipulate the resin at this stage and it will do things. You know you're jealous. I got to learn things. Dude, it's cool. All right. I'll leave it be. I did things. Okay, I learned things. Super exciting. Super duper exciting. So exciting. Okay, I'm gonna have to think about the implications of everything I just learned about what I can do with resin. So I'm probably getting to the point where I'm kind of done here. I've done what I can in my space. My space is full. So maybe it's time to move on. Yeah, take a break. Maybe sit down. My feet are kind of getting to the end of their lifespan for today. Any questions? Anything you want to see? Do you guys like it when I draw more, paint more, resin more? You can tell me here in the chat if you're listening and playing along, or you can DM me on Instagram. It's a great way to find out things. Yeah, that's all. Oh, I threw it in the trash, but it missed. I missed the trash. Fight corruption every day, yo. With whatever you have to do. Just fight it. Always fight it. Make decisions. Fight the man. Whatever you gotta do. Yeah, add me on Instagram. You can always ask me questions on Instagram. It's like, yeah, fight the power, man. Fight the man. Yeah, I'm gonna pack up. My feet are done. Yeah. So, fight the man. But my usual sign off and my usual feeling is, peace, love, and science. That will fight a lot of corruption. Just peace, love, and science. That's it. We just need peace, love, and science. Okay, in our world, peace, love, and science. Peace, love, and science. Okay, just embrace that, and it will be okay. It will. I think. Maybe if I'm lucky. I don't know. That's my theory on the world. Okay, so. I will see you all next time. It's been great hanging with you. Thank you, especially to the people who comment, like Zamferati and the Emperor 29 Gaming. And Rico Anande was on here a little bit earlier, weren't they? Yeah. So it makes my life, as I'm streaming, a lot better if you come in and chat with me. You don't have to. I know some people are shy, but it's really great to have conversations with you all. I absolutely adore it. Do let me know though if you prefer the drawing or the resining or the sewing or any of that. I'm very interested to know. Love you all. Peace, love, happiness. Bye.